Hello and welcome everyone. This is Phoenix with your Patriot Health Report for the weekend of February 15th, 2025. All the health facts you need to know for the Patriot on the go. If you're looking for last week's Patriot Health Report, there's a delay in that. And so we could not actually record or upload. But here we are. And just in time because as you can see from the title, RFK has been confirmed, and this is a big deal. Bob's going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about this. And basically, like the title says, what can you do to get started on the new world of health and wellness? Because I think we're going to see a lot of things. I'm very happy about this. And the fact that this happened on the day that we're recording. If you want to know what day we're recording, check the news and you'll find out. But anyway, I want to get right into this topic because we have a lot to cover. And, sometimes Bob doesn't even have enough time in the 1 hour that we do on the Patriot Health Report to, give us the knowledge we need to partake on the topic because it's so vast. And this is a big topic, and this is earth-changing, world-changing. I can't say it's earth-changing, and I'll ask Bob his opinion on that. But anyway, get right into it. Bob Gilpatrick of Boomers Forever Young, the CEO and the founder of and discoverer of the New Fountain of Youth. Wait a minute, did I say that out loud? Okay, I wasn't supposed to tell everyone because Bob has followed in the footsteps of Ponce de Leon down in Florida, and he perhaps found a Fountain of Youth. Anyway, all joking aside, Bob, how are you, brother? How are things going down in Florida? And what do you think of what's going on and whatever, what's going on with your business, everything?
Yeah, thank you, Phoenix. Everything's going well in Florida. It's 4 months after the hurricanes here, and we're still making frequent runs to Home Depot and Anderson Lumber, completing renovations on buildings and the like. And that's going to be going on probably for another year. And it's very interesting to go to Home Depot these days and see the piles upon piles of lumber and baseboard and insulation that are piled up on people's carts, and the lines at the checkout, just incredible. And so that's where we are. We're in full-blown recovery mode. Most people have their permits now to actually get started. It only took 4 months for the FEMA and towns to issue the permits, so that's pretty good news.
Yeah. Well, I want to stop you right there. We were talking about some of the delays, but we've had an experience that happened on January 20th of this year, 2025, where we had a new presidency come in. An amazing thing happened, Bob. I mean, there was a lot of disclosure, a lot coming out about kind of problems you guys had in Florida, a lot of problems we had in the Carolinas with actually issuing those permits and allowing those things to happen. And hopefully, in the future, we'll see a big change on that. And we have seen on that front in the Carolinas where that were greatly kind of neglected. I actually heard, read it, it's like 5 days after the new administration came in, they said there were convoys of trucks with equipment and supplies from the federal government that rolled in to the Carolinas. So I think what you're talking about, it took that many months to issue permits. I think in the future, disasters like you faced and other people have faced, we may see a minimized time on that.
Yeah, I agree. They had that one family in North Carolina was talking about their neighborhood and how they needed a bridge across this creek in order to access the neighborhood, and the bridge got washed out, and it was going to cost $300,000 to repair it. And FEMA told the lady who came down to let them know about it They said, well, we don't fix bridges. You guys need to pay for that bridge yourself. And then once the bridge is done, then we'll talk to you about helping renovate your houses. And so Trump was speaking to that lady, and 2 days later, they had the Army Corps of Engineers was there starting construction on that bridge.
Yeah, and so we have, and you and I talked about this in the past. Changes, things that were coming, new potentials that what we could potentially see, and that's one of the topics we're talking about today specifically. And I don't want to sidetrack you too much. And no, I think this may be a record. I think I sidetracked you earlier in a Patriot Health report than I ever have. I'm not sure, Bob, but I think I freaking did it. So anyway, with that being said, all right, I have set my own record here. I'll take Bob off topic, but please continue to tell us what's going on, how's it going, and we'll get into the topic here. But of course,
Yep.
any new news with the business, what's going on, and any news you may have for us, please, sir.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
promise
So
I will give you at
yes.
least give you at least 15 minutes before I interrupt again.
Oh, yeah, that's all right. Anytime. It's the weekend of Valentine's Day here in 2025, and so for people that are listening and maybe listening to the replay, even up to a week or two later, we just have some really great new sales where we have a bunch of things 25% off, including you can get what we call the skin, hair, and joint health combo, which is a big tub of collagen peptides that comes together with our heirloom barley and our vitamin C. And you put the combo together and take 25% off. It's a really great way to get healthy. Collagen is the most prominent protein in the human body. So we make about 100,000 different proteins, but we make more collagen than anything else. And it a lot of the tissue in our body is the base material is collagen. And so, but when you take in collagen peptides, those are the building blocks of collagen. Collagen is a bigger molecule that's made up of smaller molecules. And in order to assemble those smaller molecules together to make the different types of collagen, you have to have vitamin C and you have to have metabolic enzymes. Very, very difficult to get metabolic enzymes. They're extremely expensive, and our body makes 10,000 different metabolic enzymes. But as you age, you make less of those. So if at all possible, you want to take in extra metabolic enzymes by mouth. And the way to get that is with this barley. Because when you sprout a seed, the seed is sprouting and going through a metamorphosis, and it's getting ready to produce a blade of grass in this case, right? And so in order to do that, you have to have metabolic enzymes that are going to glue together the peptides and the amino acids that will then form that blade of grass. So in a sprouting process, you get this massive amount of not only metabolic enzymes, but other really powerful ingredients like antioxidants. And so when you take this barley, you have all these enzymes that are going to work together with the peptides to create large amounts of collagen, and that vitamin C is in the pack as well. So keep that in mind, especially people that are having trouble with their joints, want to improve their skin, their hair, their nails. That's all made up of collagen, and that's the way you do it. That's the best way in the world to do it, Phoenix, because to the best of our knowledge, we don't know any other company in the world that is giving people peptides with metabolic enzymes.
Wow.
And it makes all the sense in the world to do it. The molecular scientists have known for decades that you need metabolic enzymes to assemble peptides and amino acids into protein, but it's not that easy to get those enzymes. But our scientist, Ken, who was here visiting recently, he knows how to produce them. So that's one
Wow.
thing. And then the other thing is this, when people are first getting started on our Boomer products, a lot of them like to start with the two base products, which is our Boomer Boost product that has 66 nutrients in it and a half of a canister of the barley. And that's on sale too. We call that the dynamic intro. That's also 25% off, and you get free shipping with it, and you get a free blender bottle with it. And so anybody that's listening, a new or has not gotten started yet, this is a great time to do it. And here today is the full-on most powerful moment of the full moon in Leo. Yeah, it started yesterday. Well,
Hmm.
it started on Wednesday, and here this
It
day.
started on Wednesday at, I believe it was like 8:53 a.m. I
Yep,
talked about it yesterday on Patriot Intel Report. So yes, indeed, we are there.
yep. And so this is characterized by opportunity of extreme opportunity, particularly in helping to clear away clutter and chaos and to untangle any chaos or uncertainty that's in your life. So it's a great time to clear off your desk, get everything filed and organized. Any clutter in your house, get rid of it. All your business affairs, great time to check in on all your credit card statements and things like that, and make sure that everything is nice and clean. Your bank accounts are all set. Everything's renewed, has to be renewed, because the opportunity that ensues when you do that is there. It's there, and it's at a very high point of electromagnetic attraction. And so by clearing away the clutter, you can accomplish your goals much more easily and can probably accomplish things that you maybe never even thought you could before. That's how powerful a time that we are in. And in regard to your health and wellness, that's what we're going to talk about today, because today begins the uncluttering of a cluster that's been going on for decades,
Yes.
with a stranglehold of certain industries on our health and wellness that is at the beginning stages of being broken.
Hey, Bob, let me clarify something for our listeners.
Yeah,
The energetics that you're talking about with the new moon, I mean, excuse me, the full moon in Leo that we just experienced, we still are, they last for 2 weeks. So if you are catching this program 2, 3, 4 days later, no big deal. And even energetically, you can jump into this, but it lasts like 2 weeks. What Bob's talking about, all these advantages, but also let me add something to that, Bob. And I think you're about to get into it, and this will roll into what we're talking about today. Is that what does a full moon do? It brings illumination. It brings light to darkness. It lights things up that can't be seen. And I don't know if you ever experienced being out in the middle of the night in a dark area in a full moon or new moon. In a full moon, I have seen full moon so bright, Bob, you can literally read a newspaper, at night. And they bring things that were hidden, that are in the dark, that have maybe been hidden for a long, long time to light. And that illumination, that light, what does light do? Light is the great purifier. Sunshine, light, and what is moonlight? It's a reflection of sunlight, right? Sunshine, and it's a purifier and an illuminator in its own way. And I just wanted to throw that in before I know what you're about to get into. And so let's go into it.
yeah. And so today here was, the confirmation hearing for RFK Jr. for Health and Human Services Secretary, and he was in fact confirmed. And what we know is going to begin to happen is a number of different things. And RFK has talked before about the negative aspects of things like high fructose corn syrup, of things like seed oils, and other things as well.
Vaccines,
Um,
vaccines. That's a big
yeah,
one.
and
The
and
problems with
fluoride and
vaccines.
the whole like, right? So he campaigned to Donald Trump for this position on those big issues. Now, these are issues that are equal in magnitude to tackle as trying to put an end to the war in Ukraine. Okay, and you're dealing with massive trillion-dollar industries that have been, over the course of decades, have been further and further consolidating the number of companies that control food and pharmaceuticals, and they have been putting in strategies such as GMO foods with pesticides that work with a particular GMO food that creates specific health problems that then is treated by pharmaceutical drugs. And that is what RFK wants to try to break that stranglehold that negative aspect has on us. So the health of people in the United States is very, very far behind many other countries,
Oh my
yet
goodness,
we
yes.
spend the most money.
Well, I've talked about this on PIR before. There are things, I actually said this, I think, last week, Bob, and I told all of our listeners, I was talking about this very situation about the EU. There's things in the EU. I'm not a big fan of the EU, but there are things that they have legislated that basically were very common sense as far as nutrition goes. There are bans that are active in Europe that if you impose them instantly here in the United States, you walk into a grocery store and maybe half or more of all of your shelves would be empty because they're against the law. There's stuff that we sell in the United States, Bob, that kills people. They know it. And in Europe, they're like, this is unhealthy. You can't do this. Now, this is like a small degree of this matter. There are other places, especially, I will say, Russia, who has totally banned GMOs. Okay, now the EU hadn't banned all GMOs, but there's a lot of things in our products that we commonly eat here in the United States that people who don't know any better, who want to be healthy, they think, oh, I'm going to have I'll have tortilla chips. That's healthy. That's light. That'll help me. No, it's all GMO. And the thing about it is the healthcare, the FDA, whatever you want to say, how you do this, we are so, it's not that we're behind these individuals, and this is the crime in this, Bob. They know this. They're aware of this. They see the scientific data. But why, Bob? Can you think of a reason? I'm going to play devil's advocate here, Bob. Can you think of any reason why congressmen, senators, legislative bodies in the United States would not go along with something or refuse to ban something? Is there any reason that you can think of that?
Well, obviously, all you have to do is look at the number of millions of dollars spent on lobbying.
Oh, follow the money. Yeah, they're making big bucks off people dying. And I want to add one other thing in there. You were talking about the entire problem with the pharmaceutical industry, the food industry, the pharmaceutical industry. Let me add another one in there is the lawyers. And I know I have lawyers, good friends who listen, but dude, this is true, because what happens is they will agree with something, a food product, a medical product, or whatever. Oh yeah, we approve this, and the next thing you know, the doctors are making all kinds of money. Pharmaceuticals are making billions, and lo and behold, oh my gosh, it's been 4 years since they released that. And the next thing you know, people see commercials on TV. If you have been harmed by this product, if this has happened to you, contact our law associates, because we have a class action suit. And so you have the FDA allowing things, and you have the food producers doing things that are not healthy. Then you have the Pharmageddon, the pharmaceutical industry, the doctors, etc. Like, oh my gosh, we need to help you because you're this, you're that, and they come up with a solution on that. And the next thing you know, that solution, oh, that's also deadly. But guess what? We're lawyers. We can help you. Contact us. And it's like it's a revolving door of money. It's like who can make the most money, and I'm kind of freaked out, everyone. If I'm kind of discombobulated right now, forgive me. But with the RFK Jr. confirmation, I'm so psyched. I am so psyched. Bob, I don't know how much he can push through. What do you think are the key things that he can actually push through? And I know there's a lot more. And I talked to Bob pre-interview about this. He can't do everything. Like Bob, prefaced this with what you need to do right now for your own health. But there's going to be things that we're going to see, everyone, that are potentially, hopefully, God willing, change in this nation, the United States of America, and as America goes, a lot of the world goes, that will change the health of human beings. Maybe not you immediately, it will in time, but your children, your grandchildren, and the whole population, and increase our ability to live well and healthy. And again, there's so many opponents against this, the pharmaceutical industry or whatever. What do you think, Bob, that we're going to be able to see from RFK Jr. that would actually benefit this? And again, you have expanded on what we need to do before that, but still, I hate to interrupt you, but dude, I am so happy today. I am so happy. I was very concerned about his confirmation, and because there's such an industry against that. And anyway, turn it over to you, bro.
Well, there's the real big issues that he will be tackling that he won't be able to solve immediately, but over time, very likely there'll be improvements. So those big issues are the quality of our food is the biggest culprit, and the food industry is controlled by a very small number of companies. They're highly, highly profitable. They're some of the biggest companies in the world, and they use ingredients in their food like high fructose corn syrup and seed oils that every doctor that has any knowledge about nutrition, every nutritionist knows that those are the worst things for people to consume. And so he's going to be tackling that. And part of the way he's going to have to try to do it is through the FDA. So the FDA has always been a revolving door of executives from those companies that are on the board of the FDA. And he's going to have to change that protocol, which I'm sure he will. And very slowly over time, move more towards that European system where those ingredients aren't allowed. Now, that's going to make for big, big changes because we're talking about many, many millions of tons of food that's being made that way. It's going to have to slowly change over time and eventually outlaw certain things like they just did with red dye number 3. And they're going to probably do the same thing with red dye number 40 very soon. And so those are some of the big issues like that he'll be tackling. And then you have other things also related to truth in reporting. Okay. So if we remember back in 2020, 2021, the pharmaceutical industry asked for a 75-year grace period before they would report on any of the adverse effects from the COVID vaccine.
Oh, dude. Okay. I'm going to stop right there. Bob, I'm going to stop you right there.
Yep.
Why have we, I know psychologically why, but as human beings, when that happened, these people weren't literally taken to the streets. I'm telling you, because really you're hiding for 75 years the adverse effects.
Yeah.
What does that tell a common sense person who's aware? That's not really good. And okay, again, that's just amazing. I just wanted to highlight that for everybody. What Bob just said, that's a big deal. 75 years, really?
Well, the FDA was much more reasonable. They came back and said, no, but we'll give you 50 years. And
my God, they're so nice. 50 years.
50
we'll all
years.
remember in 50 years.
The lawsuit that was filed forced them to release the data right away. And if you could read through, they released 1 month's worth of data. And if I got a full copy of the report, it was many, many, many pages long. And the majority of it was, here's the adverse effects that we saw. This happened, that. And they had to come up with new names for hundreds of new autoimmune diseases that they had never seen before. And so that's why they wanted 75 years, because they already knew that that's what the case was. So in response to your question, that's the type of disclosure that we're going to see change, where RFK will require disclosures right away in that type of situation. And then also working to help for allowing alternatives to the food components that are making everybody sick. And that those are the biggest things
I personally,
that he's going to be working on.
Bob, I personally think at some point, and I can't give you a pinpoint on why this is. I think your business, Boomers Forever Young, and others like yours, not just specifically you, are really going to do much better because, we talked, like I told everyone, prior interview, he can only talk about so much, he can only do so much, but he knows nutrition. He knows how important this is. If he knows how bad negative nutrition and the things that they're doing, he knows good nutrition and good supplementation. And I actually think that, Bob, your company, Boomers Forever Young, and there's others out there. I have to be careful what I say. I'm not going to say anything that would like inflame people in any way. Been there, done that. But I think it's going to be a great boon to what you do. And remember, Bob, do you remember what was it called? There was a thing that was being pushed in Canada and by the World Health Organization and all these agencies that any non-pharmaceutical supplement, they wanted to have it like banned or placed underneath what was it, like prescription relative? I'm talking vitamins and minerals on it. What was the name of that? Remember that? It was something weird.
Yeah, no, I don't remember the name of it. Thank God it hasn't gone anywhere so far.
Oh, and it won't. And that happened when all that was happening. That happened right along when there was a rash of alternative health physicians, some former, high-level doctors, and talking about alternative health issues who had unexpected, unusual deaths. I was very concerned about that for you many years ago, but it was like a rash of them. And this is when this whole thing was going, God, what was the name of that? There was an actual tag name to that where they wanted to take all vitamins, all minerals, everything you can get, over the counter and put them under prescription only. Oh, man, I can't remember the name. Thank God. I'm glad I can't remember the name of that. Thank you, God. But anyway, this is what we're countering. That's the way they wanted to go. They wanted to make everything pharmaceutical, that you could not do anything on your own without doctor's permission, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep. Well, people can, decide right now, today, to begin to implement for their own life what RFK is going to, be working on probably for the rest of his life. And it's just to start with what you want to avoid. Obviously, the seed oils and too much sugar. Right away, you have to start there. And if you can avoid GMO foods, you want to do that. If you can eat organic, you want to do that to avoid as many pesticides as you can. And then you want to know what it is that is available, what's real, what's hype and what's not hype in regard to what you can do to have the good come in. And so what you really want is you want to partner with a company that provides products that's all of the good but none of the bad. And so you you first want to start with, is there a way to do detoxification? And there certainly is. There, you can use our sprouted barley seeds, and your body will start to detoxify, as you can testify to, Phoenix, right away.
Oh
And you'll
yeah.
get
Oh
all
yeah.
kinds of toxins out of your body by just taking little bits of this powder.
Oh, Bob, can I confess? I didn't take little bits because that's just how I
Yeah,
roll. Yeah,
yeah,
you
I
know.
know.
Like, sorry everyone, listen to Bob's advice.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't listen.
Listen to
Don't
Bob on
listen to
this one.
Phoenix. Don't listen to Phoenix. Listen to Bob. He's a professional.
Yeah, I can tell you a little story. There's a man who's actually an expert in supplementation. It's a big, strong guy, you know, played football for the University of Nebraska. And when we first got our barley, like the first shipment ever 14 years ago, he wanted to try it. So I brought it over to him. I sat him down. I brought it to his office in Tampa. I sat him down and I explained exactly what I wanted him to do with the half a teaspoon for the first week, et cetera, et cetera. The next day he called me. He goes, "Oh my God, what is this stuff?" He goes, "I'm having a big problem. I smell like mold, and there's mold coming out all over my body." I said, how much of that stuff did you take?" He goes, "I don't know. I just took a couple big scoops and threw it into my
Oh
smoothie."
man, I remember this story. I remember when you
Yeah,
first told it when it happened. So please
yeah,
continue.
yeah. So literally the first day, his body was detoxing mold out through his skin. Okay. So you don't want that. Because it's too hard on your kidneys
Not
and your
yeah.
liver.
Not only let me share one other story I heard from Bob's uh, customers, friends, etc. I do know a former Navy SEAL, and he did basically the same thing. Bob hasn't really talked about it. He had problems with his liver. It hurt. It actually hurt him. He's like, oh my God. And he had to really, really, really ease into it because it
Yeah.
caused him problems. So, and I heard that firsthand. So anyway, and the second hand, I remember that story, and I did the same thing myself because I guess we're like, who are idiots or whatever. But
Yeah.
I didn't have pain, everybody. No, I'm not going to talk about what I did or did not have because that's bad advice. Don't listen to me, listen to Bob.
Yeah.
Okay, please continue.
Yeah. Well, I went back over to Tampa that afternoon and to his office, and I took the canister and I said, "Forget about it, dude. You're not allowed to have this product. You're not smart enough to follow the
You're not
instructions.
allowed to have this. That's
You're not
great.
allowed to have it. Give it back." And I took it, and that was the last time he was allowed to take it. And that so when you buy this product, it comes with a little scoop, a half teaspoon scoop, and a set of instructions. Here's how you ease into it. It takes about a month before you ease into the full dose. Yes, your body detoxifies, but that's just the very beginning. You also later on, a couple 3 months later, you want to detoxify your heavy metals. Now the barley will get some of it out, but zeolite, which is a compound that comes in a dropper that you put drops on your tongue, will get the rest of the heavy metals out. And this way, you kind of get a fresh start, right? Where our bodies have been absorbing toxins for decades and decades, and we're very gelatinous beings. We're 63% water, and we're kind of like jello that's held together by skin and fascia with a bony structure in the midst of that jello. And that's how we get around. And so our bodies absorb toxins very easily because of the nature of our soft tissue. And so if you want a fresh start, because you're born toxic, there's 472 different toxins on average in a mother's bloodstream while she's pregnant that's being passed on to the child. So your average child is born with almost 500 different toxins in its body. And as you age, as you get older, you absorb more and more. And so now's a good time to get a fresh start. It doesn't take 2 days or a month. Your body might be detoxing for a whole year, depending where you lived, where you grew up, were you near an industrial plant, were you in a port town like Boston, New York, Tampa, San Diego, Port Elizabeth, that type of thing. There's lots more toxicity in port towns from the boats. Also depends on how much overcooked meat you've been eating, and it depends on if you bring your shoes inside the house each night, because it off gases all the pesticides and tire dust and everything that you picked up on your shoes during the day. If their shoes are in the house at night, it off gases and you breathe it in. And so this is very important. If you have the opportunity to detox, you should do it. And people think of a detox and go, oh man, that's going to be a hassle. I got to drink this nasty drink for, 16 days and da da da. No, that's not it. The barley is actually food.
Yes.
It's actual sprouted seeds, but the way it's been processed, it's very powerful. So you just mix it in a glass of water and drink a little bit. And as each day goes by, you detox a little more and a little more. And so that's how you get started on a journey to health, is to get rid of the toxins. And then you also, at that point, you're already starting to get stronger and you're starting to get younger, because when people are aging, we age faster as we get older. And there are many reasons for that, but the main one is we produce less of the molecules that keep us from aging fast. So when aerobic life, like human beings are, we produce waste products of human life, and they're in the form of free radicals, which damage your body over time. And after 85, 90, 100 years, your body's been burned up. But we now have the technology to slow that rate of burn by 90% or sometimes more. And so in that same barley product is a compound called superoxide dismutase that does that for you. It slows your rate of burn because you're making less SOD as you age, but now you can take it by mouth and for the first time have stabilized SOD that actually makes you age very, very, very slowly, the slowest rate that you ever were in your life. So
Why,
you're no longer
Bob, why
aging
is that?
faster as you get older.
Bob, why is that exactly?
Well, when the reason people age faster as they get older is the antioxidants that keep those free radicals down that are burning you up are made from your genetic code. And as you get older, your genetic expression gets tired. So the exactly of it is your DNA is in this double helix and it's inside of your nucleus, and it's wrapped in a protein sheath, and it has the code for your whole life. And when it's time for you to make proteins to build muscle, to build skin and hair and like that, you have to open up that sheath, that protein sheath, to allow for the exposure of the code that's in the DNA underneath. And so something activates it. Vitamin D, a polyphenol, pings the outside of the DNA and splays open that sheath. And then your RNA can come and copy it and go back out into the cytoplasm and say, hey, I need some metabolic enzymes, some peptides, some amino acids, some minerals, because I'm going to make these proteins, right? Well, you're making millions of them a second, right? And so it's moving very, very fast. But as you get older, that protein sheath becomes less and less reactive to the pinging that's splaying it open and creating the genetic expression that you're after. And so making superoxide dismutase that keeps you younger gets worse as you age. You don't make as much because you don't have the same expression. So now you can take it in by mouth. You don't have to worry about that expression. And you can take so much in by mouth that you have more when you're 80 years old than you did when you were 10 years old. And so you can slow your rate of aging way, 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 way down by taking this in by mouth. Now, this is an innovation, right? And this is the key here, Phoenix. If people want to really get less toxic, they really want to get stronger and younger and have their whole metabolism acting very, very young, you have to believe that what you're hearing or what you're reading is actually true. And does it make sense, right? And is there enough information that I can read or listen to that it makes sense to me? And am I the very first person to use this product? How long has it been around for? And how many testimonials that are verified by an outside agency are there testifying to the effect that it's had for them? Right. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's why when you look at a company's website, you want to see how many reviews they have, and you want to see, are they verified reviews? Meaning an outside software program is eavesdropping on the website to make sure that that person writing the testimonial actually bought that product, right? So you can't have made up testimonials. And so then you have to ask, is this type of thing really possible? Is it really possible to slow my rate of aging like this? And it sounds too good to be true. Well, guess what? I re- I remember having my first cell phone in like 1989, and the first smartphone wasn't until much, much later. Now we're getting close to having driverless cars. We had a space shuttle decades ago, right? You have heart transplants, right? So these breakthroughs in the world of nutraceutical science that are being made by genius inventors are very, very real. They're not
Yes.
made up hype for somebody to sell something and make money.
Okay. Now,
And
let me stop you right there. I'm going to interrupt again, everyone. Some people hate when I do it. Some people love when I do it. Flying cars, the technology we have, self-driving cars, AI, AI. Hello, everyone. You may not be familiar with GPT AI, and there's other forms of this. Incredible, incredible technological things are happening. And Bob, we're talking about back to topic again with the confirmation of RFK Jr. and potentially others, and the truth, the full moon, all is coming out. Everybody, we're entering okay, if you're not familiar with, I'm going to name a name, Cliff High. Cliff High is a brilliant individual. He's a computer programmer, and he's done predictive programming on his computer for a long time, kind of like Martin Armstrong. Yeah, you can Google that too. And Bob, we're on the verge of seeing some things technologically and medically, brother, I don't think we've ever seen. I mean, I know your hope. You talked about it for years. We talked about this, and you're like, oh, this breakthrough, that breakthrough. Dude, I think we're about to see some crazy stuff. I mean, with full disclosure, again, jumping back to the title, RFK Jr., full disclosure and accountability. Go Doge there, everybody. Doge, hello. How many trillions of dollars of fraud. We are about to see truth, this full moon, the light of this, the disruptiveness of this come out. And what Bob's talking about, we're not talking about 20 years from now, everybody. We're talking this stuff is going to come out fast, fast, fast. Bob, I actually think we're going to see some technologies that you've desired for years be made manifest. I think it's been hidden. What do you think on that? Do we have hidden health technologies? Do we have hidden health realities that have been withheld from us? And number one, that was my first question. Number two, do you think we're about to see them revealed?
yeah, and some of them are right now. I'll just give you an example. So imagine this. You're looking at different technologies, new machinery like cars, planes, rocket ships being invented. And then you look all around and you see human beings, right? And what do you see? You see newborn babies, 5-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100-year-olds, maybe 117 years old, and then dead, right? And you see what the people look like as they age. They tend to get older and older and more frail as they age. That's the typical person, right? And so you ask yourself, all right, so we invented a space shuttle. What if we had something that would change that aging process? Wouldn't that be a miracle? Well, listen to this, Phoenix. I got this testimonial yesterday from a woman who says this: after 3 months of taking Boomer Boost, heirloom barley, Myotrol, and collagen peptides, I'm getting younger and younger. I'm not sure after running 14 miles how much farther I can go. I'm not even tired. Your
Whoa,
products
whoa,
are
whoa, whoa, whoa,
truly the
whoa,
fountain
Bob,
of
Bob,
youth.
Bob. How old did you say she was?
It doesn't say how old she is.
Oh, but she said she ran 14 miles.
Yeah. And she's like, your products are truly the fountain of youth. Thank you, boomers. And so here's the thing, Phoenix. We know certain aspects of aging, the biology of this thing we call aging when we watch people get older and older and older. And we know that it's related to inflammation. We know it's related to changes in genetic expression, changes in your circulation, your absorption of nutrients, and also in the inability of your body to identify old, tired cells that are poisoning the rest of your body to get out of the way and make room for new cells. And we have technology for every one of those things now. If you want to restore your circulation back to a much younger age, you can. If you want to slow your rate of aging from oxidative stress by a factor of 10, you can do that. If you want a compound like resveratrol with quercetin, that you can pop a pill and it'll clear out all those old dead cells, we have that too. You want to increase your absorption of nutrients, we've already got all of these things, right? It's all of the good and none of the bad. And these are just nutrients already, right? We also now are seeing a huge advancement in light therapies. So right now in front of the FDA for approval for treating Alzheimer's disease is a $500
Hmm.
lamp that puts out a specific
Yeah.
wavelength of light that
The
you put.
sunflower. Are you talking about the sunflower technology?
Yep, the sunflower
Yeah, you
technology.
talked to us
And
about that before. Please
and
explain.
get a load of this. There's another technology that just came out that the FDA approved, and in March they're starting to distribute the technology to doctors' offices, the eye doctors, and they have a new form of pulse light therapy that is curing macular degeneration.
Okay,
And
real quick, talking about this. Clarification from you, RFK Jr. What position did he just take?
Secretary of Health and Human Services.
Which is in charge of who?
Well, yeah, I mean, the FDA is one of the things that it's in charge of. It's also in charge of the CDC, which
Oh,
includes the infectious disease division. All right.
oh, dude, we could do a 3 hour program, but
Yep.
I'm going to stop right now. Please continue.
Yep. Yeah. And he's also in charge of Medicare and Medicaid, which he's commissioned Dr. Oz to help him with that.
Nice.
So, yeah. So, um, so the point is this, Phoenix. Yes, you're right. We're going to see new things that we haven't heard of before. There's also a whole bunch of things that we haven't heard of before that are actually approved and available right now. Right now, it won't be till March that people can go for treatment for macular degeneration, but it's approved. I contacted the company that invented the device, and they said, keep checking the website because we're going to start distributing these devices in a couple of weeks to doctors' offices. And for the people that have this problem, they'll be able to go get treatment for it now. Now, there's also at the USC School of Medicine, they've created a new type of organic scaffolding that they can inject into a person's eye and then inject stem cells that will latch onto the scaffolding right where the macula has deteriorated. And they're regrowing the macula in people's eyes with this technology.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And so there's all these things right now that are either available right this minute or will be within months or a year. And then there's going to be a lot of other hidden technologies that have been purposefully held from us that are going to emerge as well. And but right at this moment, for most people, boy, there's all you can handle that's already out there, already approved. You know, light therapies, pulsed electromagnetic field therapies, and really, really advanced nutritional therapies. You talked about AI,
Yes,
Phoenix.
yes.
Well, our product Myotrol was invented by a man named Eric Kurtz in California. He chose our company to be his distributor, and he was able to figure out which molecules out of which plants would activate which specific genes with the help of a computer that has a semblance of the human genome programmed into the computer. And then they would take the molecular structure of a particular compound in a plant, like a lignin, introduce it into the computer system, and it would tell them which gene it was activating.
Thus, he produced Myotrol by AI. So what you're talking
Yeah,
about, that to be perfectly
yeah,
honest and forthcoming with everyone.
yeah, yeah. And that product solves one of the three biggest issues in the world of health and wellness, which is as people age, they lose muscle weight. And muscle is a integral part of the human body. Makes up a big part of your body, and it does many things. It doesn't just contract your joints so that you can move around and do things, but it produces all types of metabolites that affect other aspects of your body, including your brain. And so when you start to lose muscle as you age, you're essentially aging at the rate you're losing muscle. And so now there's a pill that you can take that lets you gain all that muscle back that you might have lost, even if you lost half of it. And it allows you to gain it all back and gain more than you ever had before in your life. And so this is the type of amazing scientific breakthrough that's there right now today, right? And so there's going to be a lot more new stuff. We at Boomers Forever Young have our own kind of dragnet set with all of our computer systems and staff to identify these things as they come about, and also thousands of customers that also help keep us informed because they're interested too and might find something, in the literature or in a news report that we haven't seen. So it's going to be really, really exciting times to come, and people will be able to live much, much longer than we ever thought possible in a really super healthy state. And we're all the new stem cell technologies, like we mentioned for the eyes, people are already getting stem cell treatments for everything from deteriorated knees to making their hair grow to growing new tissue in their pancreas. Think about this. Last year, Phoenix, there was a discovery that they can now do a procedure with stem cells that regenerates a type 1 diabetic's pancreas so they no longer have diabetes.
Amazing.
And almost identical technology they invented that cures sickle cell anemia.
Amazing. Well, I tell
Yeah,
you what, with this new golden age that's upon us, we're going to see so much more, Bob. So much more. I mean, the information you've shared with us over the years, the months, I think a lot of it has been greatly held back and disrupted in many ways. I want to go into that right now. We can do an hour program on that. But I think we're going to see amazing, amazing, amazing discoveries. Your thoughts?
yeah, I think that uh, It's going to be, you're going to see advances in regeneration will be one of the really big ones, which will be able to help regenerate parts of our body that hasn't been able to be regenerated before. And we know now that a big part of genetic expression is from light. And we know from the researchers at Tufts University, they've identified a very small energetic field that is hovering above our skin about a quarter of an inch. It's activating a significant part of our genome. And they also know that if someone was to cut their finger and it would cut off a little bit of the tip of their finger, that will grow back. But if it gets cut down below the nail, it won't grow back. And they now know it's because it's been cut down below where that frequency was able to penetrate. And so they're now doing research to duplicate that frequency. And very soon, think of this, Phoenix, when a child is born, they're going to be able to store in a computer a blueprint of the frequency that's surrounding their body for genetic expression. And then once a year, they will add another set of frequency. They'll take another picture of that frequency and they'll archive it year over year over year over year. And if something happens where a child starts to develop a disease or a problem, they'll be able to introduce snippets of that frequency that they'll be able to cleave out from the computer system and project it down onto that part of their body that will give it a reset to a younger age.
Amazing.
And eventually what they'll be able to do is say, okay, you want to stop aging at the age of 35 or 38? Great. Come in once a year. We'll put you into the machine. We'll load your frequency from last year and you'll lie in that machine for a set amount of time and we'll reset your frequency for you.
Amazing. You know,
Yeah.
Bob, we're rolling up on the end of the hour here. We're at 56 minutes right now. Well, 57. Wow. So much amazing information. Again, everybody, RFK Jr. confirmed. Big changes coming. I think even bigger than Bob's talking about. He's talking about a lot of things. I think it's going to be closer. I think I may be potentially even more optimistic than Bob, and that's a hard thing to do. I think we're going to see some disclosure, Bob, of suppressed, because you bring a lot of information to us about, different things that you've heard, and I think, well, I know that a lot of this has been suppressed, and I think even you, sir, you're a brilliant guy, even things that you don't even realize that were out there that were so suppressed, and I think we're on this golden age of freedom and change and novelty that we're going to see a lot of this stuff come out. And, I want to tell everyone real quick before we end here, when we see this and it starts to happen, it becomes more main news. A lot of you, like, you try to tell your friends, they don't want to hear it, whatever. When this comes out big time, because of human nature, you're going to see people jumping on the board like, oh, this, and that, and this. I want everyone to remember that Bob Gilpatrick and Boomers, what Bob has been saying, I've done this, God, over 10 years, I think, 12 years, and he's always said the same thing, brought forward technologies. They had this. What he's talking about and what their products avail to you has been around for over 10 years. Plus, okay? So he's not some new guy's like, oh, I'm going to jump on the bandwagon and make a buck. No, Bob's been doing this at his own expense many, many, many times, and his workers to help everyone for over a decade. Okay, so when we start seeing this, and Bob, you have to agree with me, we're about to see major disclosure on all kinds of crazy things, governmental fraud, exposure, UAPs, UFOs, whatever. We're going to see, all kinds of disclosure. And now, with RFK Jr. confirmed, we're going to see health disclosure. And this is a big deal. I just want all of you to remember that you heard it here first with Bob Gilpatrick, and that the stuff that he's saying, like we have this, we have that, that does this, he's not quickly making it up to make a buck. Because I think, Bob, we're going to see a lot of those. That's just human nature. It happens. That people do marketing, this viral stuff. You know, I mean, I know there's one, I won't mention it, that copied you and your boomers, and they tried to make a thing of it. And I know it's not real. It's like, it's not what you guys do. But I just want to let everybody remember, when all this comes out in public, because your family, your friends, your neighbors are going to start discussing this. It's going to be public knowledge. GMO crops, what is that? GMO foods, what is that? This is going to come out, and it's going to be cut down. Okay, that is the novelty we're in right now. We approached into, and we have entered basically the intro into the Aquarian age, and this is what it's all about. But I want all of our listeners, maybe new, maybe 2 weeks, maybe many years, decade, to remember that Bob's been talking about this for all of this time and educating us to this. So what he's talking about is proven scientifically, and all, like he was talking about with the all of the results that they have in testimonials. This isn't marketing. This is real stuff, and everything behind that I want to get into. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But hang around, you will. But anyway, Bob, I just had to interject that because we are at an hour right now. Thank you. Dude, I am so psyched that RFK Jr. has been confirmed. I'm looking for, one or two more, and we will see that. And I'm excited, man. I am really excited about what we're going to see because, you and I, have done talks before about the suppression of true health items and the reality of it and the pharmaceuticals, and it's kind of the dangerous thing. I hinted about it earlier in the program here about some of your comrades, I guess, if you will, in the alternative health news not ending up too well because issues have come up, and I think we're a little too sensitive to the pharmaceutical industry. And, I do want to say before Bob finishes up here, everybody, don't be, so super positive, being realistic here. We're talking about multi-billion-dollar industries. Will they just go away like, oh, gee, darn, you guys got us. You're right. We lied to you. We took advantage of you. We took all your money and we lied to you. Oh, darn. Maybe better luck next time. I don't know. Dude, maybe they got enough money that they will be like, okay, we're done. I don't know, Bob. But anyway, I just want to throw all of that to everybody. Some of the kudos to Bob, his business, his people, the research, the scientists, multiple ones that work with him, and all they've ever done. Okay, not to go on too much longer to a rant, but oh man, I could talk about this for an hour. But anyway, Bob, okay, we're at the end of the hour. Here's what I need from you, brother. I need closing statements. I need some words of wisdom. I need contact info. Do it in whatever order you want to, but let's close this out of here. Closing thoughts, words of wisdom, and how to contact you, and again, whichever order, please.
Yeah, sure. So if people want to get in touch with us, first thing you want to do is make your way to our website by going to patriotintelreport.com and click on the banner on the top left that looks like a lady in a blue lightning storm, and that'll bring you right to our site. If you want to call us, we pick up the phone Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 Eastern Time. It's 800-861-4609. And you can call and ask questions, get help with anything that you need. And if you want to stop by and visit, like a lot of PIR listeners have done, we're at 5401 Central Avenue in St. Petersburg, Florida. It's right halfway between the beach and downtown. And you can come by and visit. Just call ahead, so I'll make sure I'm here to meet up with you. And yeah, that's how to contact us, Phoenix. And I would just say, at the end here, this is really and truly the dawn of a new age for health and wellness. And it's so interesting that RFK was confirmed right here on the most powerful day of the full moon in Leo. And talk about unwinding a tangled mess and moving forward. He's probably got the biggest job of anybody. And,
you think?
Yeah. And so if you as an individual want to get some help with maybe untangling a few questions that you're not sure about and getting ready to move forward with your health, then give us a call and we'll be more than happy to help you out.
You know what? I want to add to this that, Bob said if you have any problems, blah, 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 give us a call. If you have any problems with loved ones, someone you love, a family member, a friend, and, you're trying to help them out, same thing, give Bob a call, okay? It may not specifically be you, but someone you love. So anyway, oh my God, what a great day, Bob. I can't believe this.
Yeah.
Great broadcast. I mean, oh my goodness, this is so, so good. And yeah, I'm so positive and so looking forward to things we've talked about and battled for over the past 10 years and can really be true. Bob, I have one last question for you.
Yep.
Is this really happening?
Yeah, it is. It's not a dream.
It's not a dream.
I'm old enough now to differentiate between dreams and reality. This is real.
Oh my God, I wish I could get that old. No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding. No, here's what I dreamed. All of you, Bob, thank you. God bless you, brother.
Thank you. Thank you, Phoenix. It was great being on with you. I'll look forward to our next time.
Yeah, so will I. And this is what I dreamed, that I can be old enough to differentiate between a great, fantastic podcast with Bob and all this truth and fantasy. Because I swear, everyone, what we just talked about, and today, this very day, where we had RFK confirmed, and I don't want to be what they call irrational exuberance, but the truth that this man spoke and he believes in, if we can see this manifest in our reality, everyone, there's great hope. And I know there's great hope. We're in novelty time. Bob tells us about this all the time, and we touch upon the physical, the metaphysical, esoteric, if you will, at times, and we're going to do more of that. Bob and I, you have no idea, everyone, how wide-verse Bob is. We'll get into that on Midnight Overwatch. But anyway, everyone, thank you so much. Bob, God bless you. I'm going to stop ranting. I'm still kind of psyched. But, brother, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you, Phoenix. It's my pleasure.
And that is it. We're out of here. This was your Patriot Health Report for the weekend of February 15th, 2025. Until the next one, everyone be well, be healthy. And remember, if any questions that you may have or for someone you know or love, give Bob a call. Until next time, God bless. Phoenix and Bob out.